What is good, guys? Charles from Team COG coming at you guys here with a post-commentary versus locals duel video today. And we're coming at your game one here versus White Force, featuring the Dragon Rulers. I streamed this day. I was like, oh, what should I play at locals tonight? And it was like, we're looking through Genesis, we were looking through like Mermails. And I kind of like last minute, locals is literally, it was literally at 7 o'clock, 4:30. I was like, I have all the stuff for Dragon Rulers. Why don't we just play Dragon Rulers? So knowing one combo, which is the one card Dora combo, which is pretty much Chasma, I decided to say, let's go. So we ended up winning the dice roll here in game one, and I'm just kind of trying to contemplate. I was like, okay, so how do we, what's the line? Okay, I don't understand no lines except for Dora. So I ended up starting with Tempest, pinching Tempest to search Dora, because that's like an old school. Like, these like the old school Dragon Rulers very seldom come up. And I'm currently on 3 of each name at a 43 card deck list, and I'm not too pleased with that. I think so. Blaster's like insanely important because Blaster allows you to search the fire dragons, which is really crazy, by just being banished, which I think has a lot more synergy with like the other Dragon Rulers banishing it. So you want to see like the other Dragon Rulers plus Blaster more often, and that's why I think you can play like 3 Blaster and then 2 of the other Dragon Rulers. But we're gonna see Genroku coming out. We're gonna see Sleepy Biden summon out Genroku tribute, summon out Pedro to grab Kaiman, and then Kaiman's gonna summon out add the Chungus, and then Chungus to summon itself. And then Chungus will then go into your choice of Synchro 7 Fire Dragon, or I don't think it has to be Fire Dragon, but Synchro 7, into Meteor Burst, and then into Chasma. A 1-card Chasma there with Dora. And that's pretty well. The only respectable way to use the Tenpai cards, man, is the fact that they're kind of versatile in this sense. Like, they're really used for going first, but they do have a lot of synergy with the deck in itself. And then, like I said, with Blaster being able to be banished, you can, like, search your Tenpai cards, which is pretty crazy because they're fire dragons. And then again, for the sake of like the Tenpai dragons can still like going second, can still push and do a lot of lethal, do the Tenpai things, you know, push, go do lethal. But for the most part, they're there to facilitate the Chasma, which is still kind of insane. We're going to do Spectral, pitching the Redox that seems to add 2. We're going to add a Stream and Blaster here. We're going to go ahead and use, I'm thinking here. So I'll go ahead and let you guys know. They might be a few misplays. Like I said, first time playing the deck. And I hopefully here I don't search off the, okay. Good, I remembered. Okay. So sometimes like all the Dragon Rules have like 3 effects. They have the ability to summon themselves. They all have the ability to discard them and a same attribute monster to do an effect. And then they also have the ability to, when they are banished, to add a dragon of their attribute, but you can only use 1 effect per turn. So it's kind of, they're really insane. If you think about it, like 3 effects, you can only use 1 of the 3 effects per turn and only once that turn. So sometimes I've like, this is my first time playing the deck, so I was really concerned. I was trying to really make sure that I didn't use multiple effects of the Dragon Rulers per turn, which I feel like could happen, especially when you start banishing, you get in those grindy steps here. But we're going to see Eclipse come out, Eclipse shuffle back one of the babies from Graveyard of Banish to summon out, and we're going to see a Spears Chasma and a Eclipse, which we're going to set 1 card and attempt to pass it over to the White Force player here. So arguably thinking I have 1 card in hand, a set. I think my set's Imperm too, which is not too terrible. But we have essentially a Chasma that's going to be a pop, and then we have the Eclipse that's going to be able to be a spell and trap negate, and the Spears to bounce. So here's the issue, right? Here's like kind of the big issue that I wasn't playing currently in the deck list. There was no like target for Chasma to use the Chasma lock, which if you guys don't know what that is, it's essentially you play any monster that like blocks the opponent, Armor Phage Goliath, Armor Phage Sloth, Arcalor Christia. You play any of those type of cards, and then when you do Chasma on your turn, you use Chasma to send Tidal. Tidal will then Foolish, because Tidal's effect is generic, like it foolishes any card. So then you dump said like monster like that's a Floodgate, and then during your opponent's turn, you use Chasma sending Redox to Monster Reborn the Floodgate. And I couldn't find my Goliath in time for this, because I know I had Goliath, even though I know like Sloth is probably better in a way, because I think Sloth is better because it can be normal summoned with just 1 tribute. So sometimes without access to Dora, you don't use your normal summon. So in other Dragon Ruler lines, you're just normal summoning the Sloth, which can be searched via Redox by being banished. Same with Armor Phage Goliath, they can do that. But I know some people are also playing like Light and Darkness Dragon. I don't think that's a good call. To be honest with you, I don't think Light and Darkness Dragon is because there's so many Fiendsmith, Mallet, like those. If I remember that card correctly, it says your opponent cannot special summon Light or Dark, yes, but cannot wait. Or hold up, that might actually be better than what I thought. I thought it was your opponent can only special summon light or dark. And if that's the case, that makes that card so much better. Let's see here. It's a Meru card, if I remember right. Quacky Meru. Let's see here. I'll need to play against special summon light or dark monsters. Okay. All right. Then I got that effect really wrong here. But we're going to see some Tenpai stuff, do some Tenpai things. Bouncing in Fedora to come out, Fedora to bring out Chungus to be able to essentially wall up here. He's going to go Sylvia to Bookmoon and everything. So yeah, I guess in the case Light and Darkness Dragon would be, or not Quackmero Dragon, not Light and Darkness Dragon. I'm mixing up the effects with what namesake for the namesake. Anyway, Quackmero Dragon would be a perfect card to use that for, in a sense, because it just stops, them from summoning light or dark monsters, which is essentially the entire meta currently, or at least half of the meta. Goliath is cool because it's such a big dragon, but it kind of suffers from Armor of Rages suffer from the effect that they can only you can steal special summon, you just can't special summon from the extra deck. So especially when you use spears to bounce out, they just attack. They can still normal summon and go over it. This deck actually really reminds me a little bit of Mermail's game plan, except for it's a little bit worse in a way, because Mermail has a lot better way to set up its floodgate-esque monsters with the king being able to prevent them from being targeted, whereas this deck kind of in a way does, in a way. Your inboard should be Chasma plus the Eclipse, which means that the Chasma should be able to reborn your floodgate-esque monster, and then if they have in-perm on Chasma, you have the ability to protect it with Eclipse, or if they think they can just in-perm this so-called card. We're going to fire off Druid Worm here, banishing the card in Graveyard, which with the Regalia. This White Force deck is wild. We're going to see a fusion summon here into, I think that's Saint Azamina. Saint Azamina is an insane card, actually. Reading this card for the first time here. But yeah, to ramble on, you have one card combo. You have the ability to search out the one card combo in multiple ways, and that's what I like when I get into decks. I truly believe if you're going to play a combo-esque deck in today's format, you have to have a one card combo in multiple ways to a one card combo in order to play through the amount of non-engine that's being main decked. 15 plus non-engine in every deck is so wild. And this deck really struggles against Nibiru, but arguably so does Blue Eyes, and you just have to play Dragon Rules in the same way that Blue Eyes counters Nibiru, and that's the minimal plays, and pretty much establishing a seals very early, so that way when you do, or if you do get nibbed, you do have the seals to be able to float out something to allow you to potentially further play, which is still problematic regardless, because potentially, and especially since the Eclipse is the Eclipse Dragon Ruler, he is a extender in a way. So if you get nibbed and then you can extend into Eclipse can bring back, and then you can potentially play things. And if you did not go through your Tenpai line, because the only thing that locks you in the deck, I believe, from locks you into dragons is the Tenpai stuff. You're able to extend into Eclipse plus SP, which is still pretty decent, through a Nibiru, etc. But Chaos Angel is going to come out, banish the Druid Swarm. Now, Chaos Angel is Chaos Angel is such a strong card, man. You have to be able to out this card, and if they establish this right here in this current, and I remember now what my set is. My set is cross out, so I'm oh great, I'm actually I have no way to out this giant Chaos Angel at all. It's made with light and dark. I have absolutely no way to out it unless I happen to rip into an impermanence. I'm just this Chaos Angel is going to hold the line, and I'm oh man, that's me reading Chaos Angel. I'm this card has always been the bane of my existence, because it's just so strong, and it's just, unless you can preemptively stop it, and sometimes, man, you see two bodies on the field, you're oh, they'll go Fiendsmith combos, and then they're just nah, man, I'm just going to go ahead and go into a Chaos Angel, and I'm it's light and dark Chaos Angel, and you're just cooked right there, because it's oh, in this game state, I could have outed, or could have stopped you from going Fiendsmith, but I can't stop this Chaos Angel that's going to wax into stuff. So he gets the Contact Fuse here into the Azamina. The Azamina, I think that's all it is. And it just Contact Fuses using Saint Azamina and a face-up card I control. And I do draw for turn, and I end up ripping the in-perm, but I'm put in this weird scenario where I'm how do I out these three monsters with the ability, how do I turn off Chaos Angel? Because I'm in such a predicament to where that Chaos Angel is sticking. It's unaffected by monster effects, and then it cannot be destroyed by battle. And I'm just oh my god, and this thing's 3,500. No matter what happens, I potentially could put out something bigger to be able to you know, like check to keep smacking over it, but the Azamina cards are just going to be there to be able to like apply such pressure that I just have to figure out some way to solve with all three of these monsters in one go. And the ruling we were asking is the effect of like, if the effect to reduce everything by 500, I think when effect activates, will trigger the other Azamina card, which allows him to destroy 2 cards. But in our locals, it was ruled it wasn't because it's not an activating effect. The effect is a continuous effect, so it doesn't activate. So I see the line. I was just like, wow, I just kind of got to take a lot of damage here for the long run here. So I'm looking at my Fedora and my Chungus here. 2 Tenpai cards, which normally these cards would be more than enough to, you know, kill over if you're playing pure Tenpai and you know, had everything at your disposal. But in Dragon Rulers, they're no more than a Synchro 7 engine and the ability to, you know, fire Dragon Monsters. So I'm thinking, all right, so I kind of see the instance here. I go cross out here to go ahead and just banish Doradora, which is a horrible thing, but I mean, I just use Doradora because I don't want to draw Doradora because I already exhausted all of the Tenpai line. I go ahead and use Chungus and Fedora to go ahead and link into, as you can see here, IP. And then I go battle phase, IP to crash, and I will take the damage, which is okay, but still in battle phase, I'm going to attempt to fire off here impermanence onto the Chaos Angel. So now Chaos Angel is shut off, so now it's like I can now solve Chaos Angel, and I'm like, how do I do this? Okay, so how do I solve Chaos Angel? How do I solve these 3 cards with Chaos Angel on the field? And it's actually, you know, that's one thing I noticed about playing this deck is that the Chaos, or the Dragon Rulers are, like, the graveyards are second hand. Like, I have not played a lot of decks that have, like, such powerful graveyard recursion, like Orcus and stuff, so it's pretty cool to be able to, you know, play a deck that has, like, my graveyard is, like, my second hand. Like, I have no hand, but I'm able to do this. I use Redox, banishing 2 of the dragon names to go ahead. Title, same thing, banish 2 dragon names to go ahead and summon. And I think I go into... Yeah, I think I go into... So I'm just thinking, I'm like, how do I just out this entire board? He has no cards. I got to... This is it. Like, I have to push here. And he has follow-up in his graveyard, too, as well, as I believe. So I go ahead and make Big Eye. Attempt to go Big Eye effect to go ahead and target... I think we just target the big Azamina. And then we go ahead and just link off here. We're not locked in any dragons in SP. SP to banish to the Chaos Angel. And then we just got to stand down this card. I banish 2 for Blaster, banishing Redox. And so, awesome. I'm really happy here. I'm remembering. So I banished 2 for Tempest. So I pretty much get to bring out all the Dragon Ruler names, which is pretty sweet. So I can't go into a... Well, do I go into Auroras? Or Chasma? Do I go into Chasma or do I go into Eclipse? I think Eclipse is gone. Yeah. So I can go into Chasma. I went into Big Eye, so I'm not Dragon Locked or anything. These are 2 bodies make Big Eye. So I think I do go Chasma. And then I use Chasma effect... detach here for cost, which this effect is kind of wild. You can't Bell or like Bell or Ash's effect because it detaches and sends for cost, and then its effect copies, and that's the effect, which is kind of wild. But I go ahead and send Redox to go ahead and Monster Reborn. I Monster Reborn out the Legend of the Eclipses, and as by my calculation, I have 1 of each one. And I go ahead and make Disaster right here, being able to equip all 4 from Banished and stuff like that. Just making sure. I don't know how that Tempest got to my... I'd have to... Missed it. Totally forgot that happened, but a Tempest somehow got to my extra deck when I was looking through my options and everything like that. Tempest might have actually got added to my hand, but anyway, it's okay because that Tempest in graveyard too. But anyway, we end up making the Disaster. Disaster banishes all monsters on field and graveyard with the same attributes. And being 4,600, it just put him on. I got you, man. Like that's just insane. So we go into game 2. Game 2 is scary here. I wouldn't say scary. I just didn't open a lot of non-engine. I think I have... Well, actually, I take that back. I opened Fuaros, and he plays into Fuaros a lot. Like, he doesn't play into it. He plays into it a lot better than what I, was expecting. So he goes ahead and pitches here. I have Ash and Fuwa, so I know a good Ash I want to throw. I want him to kind of commit more. That's why I'm holding the Fuwa, because, again, I didn't want him to, like, not commit. Maybe the correct thing was to frame 1, throw Fuwa, but I wanted to, like... I know White Forest... So I Ash the Deception. He attempts to summon out the LZ. LZ will go ahead and add. He'll normal summon out the Silva. I'll just respond here with Fu. I'm like, all right, you got to at least give me 1 draw. You got to make something here. You got to have the bodies to Synchro summon. You have the bodies to Link summon. This is where, you have to at least give me 1. And we see a Synchro into the Synchro, not Sylvie, oh god, I forget this one. It's the Synchro 6 that lets you discard and add a card. So he's going to add the White Forest. and then he's going to be able to set the tails. And then I believe he goes... So he ends up setting up a pretty decent board. Like, I ain't even going to lie. But, like, you know, I'm just kind of sitting there, I'm like, all right, I just need to remember when you give me draws, so, like, I can, you know, keep drawing. Hopefully draw into more non-engine, etc. that I've sided in. So we see the LZ come out. This is the new one that allows, like, protection and stuff. And then I think he's able to... So he sends the D-Bell trap, which allows him to search a D-Bell spell. He activates a D-Bell spell to go ahead and search a D-Bell monster, I believe, which is the D-Bell star in dragon form, Vengeance, I believe. And then Vengeance is going to banish 2 spell or traps to be able to summon itself. And then he the trap and the spell. I think that's the trap that does it, but gives everything 500. And then since he controls the D-Bell monster, he's going to be able to quick effect pay half his life to pop a card, and then special summon from the extra deck a Synchro Tuner, which can be the small Poplar. And then, so this board is pretty insane under Fuwa. And I think I draw Droll for turn. Yeah, right there, I see it in my hand. I draw Droll for turn, and I was like, wow, where was Droll? That's insane. So I normal summon Dora to go ahead and search again Roku. So Goku here, as I like to call him, triggers in the hand to attempt to summon himself. He comes out as a level... I just choose to make him a level 4 tuner. So that way I can, like, climb into, you know, stuff. Arguably, man, maybe Zeus should be in my extra deck so I could, like, go here. But, I mean, like, no matter what, I don't think there's anything that I could use to beat this here. So he attempts to bell the Sleepy Joe here. Sleepy Joe Bident Dragon can't summon out because he gets belled, which is unfortunate. But I just have to use Spectral and a Spectral here. And if this resolves, you know, it's pretty decent. It gives me 2 names, but I still think he just has more than enough. I search Blaster and Redox because essentially he still has the ability to pop a card, and then he has the ability to summon out Poplar. Poplar quick synchros into, like, the new Snake Eyes card that's like a push to the back row type of thing, or something even worse. I mean, it can synchro to anything he wants. He can synchro into, I believe, Chaos Angel if he wants to as well. So yeah, here comes Poplar. I end up searching Tempest. The Poplar gets to put 2 cards into the spell and trap card zone, so he puts LZ and Sylvie. I don't know if that was, like... I don't know if that's important or just to go ahead and use the Poplar. You don't have to use it. I feel like you normally don't use the Poplar effect because you want, like, Sylvie in the graveyard to shuffle back. But he decides to go Poplar effect to quick synchro here into Chaos Angel, and the Chaos Angel banishes the Tempest. And I believe yeah. Oh. I don't know if I would be able to use the Tempest here. I think I summoned out Tempest with... yeah, so it doesn't matter. He has enough there. So we go into that all-important game number 3. Game number 3, we're getting close to time. And I do my bit. I hate time rules, man. I actually despise the time rules. They, like, force bad plays and non-optimal plays, and it just seems like you can have some really good games, go game 1 and game 2, and then you get into, like, game 3 when time's close, and, like, it just becomes a whole shit fest because both players are pressured by time. They do not make optimal plays. They don't calculate stuff. They're rushing to get through their combo sequencing and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the time rules. I understand the implications, but I know I'm not alone. It's like it's not a hot take. Like, I know a lot of people are not fans with the time rules, and yeah. So anyway, we end up pitching the Spectral, and then searching, and then we get to summon out, banishing Tempest and Redox to go ahead and add the 2 names. We go ahead and go into Chasma. We go Chasma effect here to go ahead and send out the title, or detach title, go ahead and copy an effect of one of the Dragon Rulers to copy Tempest, to go ahead and search for... I think we go for Dora, because we have a normal summon. Yes, so we grab Dora. We normal summon Dora. This is the crazy thing about Dora being a 1-card combo, and this is why I like playing Dora, is because it's searchable via Tempest, it's searchable via Chasma, it's searchable via Blaster being banished. And there's a lot of ways to get to the 1 card, because Dragon Rulers inherently neg themselves. So, like, again, if you pitch Spectral and you get ashed, that's -1, right? So, like, you'd rather normal summon Dora, use Dora effect to grab Genroku, and then start playing this way, and so they throw their disruptions at your climb, and then you Spectral, and the Spectral is like that big push forward. Now, it does suck if you do get drolled and you were holding Spectral, but essentially you shouldn't... Well, I mean, you do add. You technically add with the Pedro, Tenpai Pydra. You do add their Kaiman, and then conveniently enough, if they do try to change roll to the add of Kaiman, you can just quick effect, you search Chandra, and then you can get into, your Chasma that way. But we end up making Meta Metal Flare here, and he ends up just this is it. Time's getting crunched, so we start burning for time. It feels scummy, man. I hate the time rules, but when you like are aware of the time, you know you have like 2 minutes left on clock. You got to try and combo as fast as you can, and this is it's just a really scummy thing to do. But the deck has the tool to it to be able to use. Here I make a huge misplay. This is like a giant misplay actually, and it should have cost me the game. I should have. So Sylvie's here, and I either should have used Chasma in the open game state to pop the card, or I should have used the Chasma here to go ahead and send Blaster to pop the Sylvie. But I go ahead and send Redox, attempt a special summon. I realize I goofed up here, and I already declared my target. I'm like, I didn't know if Redox targeted or not, but I declared the Genroku, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to play. I'm not going to just change it. I targeted Genroku. Genroku will come out regardless here. And so conveniently, man, this is what I was talking about before about my little rant there, is that time puts people in weird predicaments where they're rushing, they're not listening, they're just trying to go through things. So he had game if he just went Sylvie attack into Genroku. And it had been game. He would have done. I'd inflicted 2,000 damage to him via the Red Eyes Metal Dragon burn. He would have done 24 to me, and it's just so unfortunate. And that's what we're kind of talking about. We're like, that's what we're talking about here. I'm like, Genroku's 1,000. He's like, oh, I didn't know Genroku was 1,000. And I have said Genroku was 1,000 when I told him. One of the other players in the background I was watching asked, and I was like, yeah, Genroku's 1,000. So it was like one of those things where he was so hyper focused he didn't even hear me continually say Genroku was 1,000. But definitely a poor misplay on my part. Like I should have used Chasma to pop the Sylvie, just because it would. Then in that case, I still would have been. It wouldn't have been game, right? Because Sylvie would have been popped, or he could have chained the Sylvie Engraver to shuffle it back, and we'd have been still like in the same predicament where we still had him burned for Kyukutagi. But we go to game 1 here against Pure Mitsurugi here. Hopefully, we're able to win the dice roll, and it looks like we are. So sweet, we're able to win the dice roll, and let's see what happens here. We draw our opening hand. We draw Dora, Imperm, and some Dragon Rulers in the hand, which is pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and normal summon Dora and attempt to use the effect to add a Fire Dragon. He chains Perilia. So, pretty good. So good, actually. Because Perilia, my hand is really powerful in the sense that it special summons. So he chains another Perilia on the activation of Genroku to guarantee he's going to get... he's going to get 2 draws from me no matter what. And I sadly, I have to play into this. There's no way to stop the double Perilia, especially in my hand. If I'd opened, some babies, the babies would allow me to play a little bit better, because then I would have been played, they summon from the deck, so I could have played around the hand. But just my hand right here plays horrible into the, into Perilia. And I add Chandra here, and I'm like, well, I have to give him another draw no matter what, but he's going to get to draw 2 more cards. So we'll get to draw 4, but I think this would have been the last time. And so I'm thinking here, I'm like, man, do I special limits or just go Seals Pass? And arguably, hindsight 2020, should have gone Seals Pass. 100% should have gone Seals, but it is what it is. We special limit into our Odd Eyes Dragon here to go into Chasma effect. At this point, we're just like, well, we got to send it. And I think that's all I even say. I just go, fuck it, we ball Drake. Let's send it and hope, if he draws into hand traps. He can, all of his hand traps minus Imperm are hard once per turn, so he can only hit me with one of them, right at a time. But I go Spectral here to go ahead and discard the Blaster to search out 2 names. And this is what sucks, man. Is so right here, since I got access to Spectral after 4 draws, man, I'm able to use Spectral to pitch, get some babies, and I'm able to use the babies to get the big dragons out of my hand that I would normally have to special from my hand. And so now, I think this is all he gets this way. So we're trying to play underneath the Fuwa. I don't know so at this moment, I don't know if he's on Pure Mitsurugi or not, to be honest with you. So I just summon back Tempest. Tempest is going to banish the Blaster. Blaster should add me a burner, and then I can use the burner to, discard and get a Blaster from the deck. So we go over and overlay. I think we go overlay for Chasma. Yeah, Chasma effect to essentially target one of the babies in the graveyard, shuffle it back, summon from the deck. We target this, summon it back. So see right here, it's just kind of one of those, weird, unfortunate scenarios. The Moltramis exist for a reason. And they're just, it just sucks. It sucks getting sacked by one Moltrami, but then, when they, either draw into a second, or in this case, he had another one, they just really suck to play into. So you gotta, establish the best board you can. So I think we just go for Chasma, Eclipse, and Spears, set 1 card, say, pass it over. I think, hopefully it's an Imperm. It'd be kind of crazy if it was cross out again. But, we see during his draw, phase, he drops Fuwa. So he had pretty much Purlia, Fuwa. And it's going to get him one draw for sure with the Fuwa, especially when Heavenly Spears up here sacks itself off to be able to summon from the deck, which again just sucks to have to do. It's the aim of the game. Yeah, so we see Mitsurugi Prayers get activated. I attempt to respond here with Eclipse to attempting to stop this, because I feel like the Prayers is such a strong card. You want to stop Prayers as often as you can, especially with Tactics being like no longer at 3, so the consistency of getting hit by it is slim to none. But if you're just like goaded and you draw it, you do get kind of punished by it. So we see the Tribute to search for a trap, so it's like, oh man, this is rough. So essentially he Kaijus me with the Luffy, which is pretty, yeah. I thought, so when I first read this card, I thought this card had to be, what do you call it? It was like a tribute on field, not in hand, but that's so cool. And so I decided to Druid Swarm here, Magnemite here. I totally mixed up the ruling with Ben 10. So like, I thought that you remove the card from where it activated at, and it works that way. It's like if Ben 10, it works the way if the card hasn't got the chance to activate yet, like, Drytron Tribute, Ben 10, Tribute for cost of Ben 10, Chain Magnemite, moving the Ben 10, it can't trigger. Even if it's tributed, it's not in the location it would, whereas in this case, since this is an inherent summon, the first thing to activate, it's not activating in hand, it's the first thing to trigger is his card, and then it will trigger since it was tributed, so it doesn't. So hindsight, I should have gone after the big Mitsurugi. But, yeah, it was one of those weird things where I thought that card was an effect in hand, the tribute stuff, and I was like, yeah, can't do nothing about that, because it's inherent. But the card's pretty sweet, cool-looking Luffy guy. Searchable Kaijus are nice, and he smacks me down with Tactics, which I'm like, well, sweet, we'll chain Spears here to bounce back, so he goes to take, so we go Spears effect to bounce back. I think I just bounced back the Eclipse, and then he, on resolution, he gets to take the Magnemite, and then I get to summon out from the deck Druid Swarm, so that way I can like wall up essentially and hope that, if he solves the Druid Swarm, I can attempt to negate. Not negate. If he sends the Druid Swarm, I can attempt to send, and then of course if he summons out the big guy, is pretty problematic. We see the new ritual be activated with a special ritual from the graveyard. He attempts to summon out the big dude Regekis. I wait till the resolution. I'll attempt to go ahead and hit Druid Swarm. He tries to negate it, and I'll just throw impermanent here to go ahead and get it off the field. Kind of feels bad that card required 2 cards to kind of solve, right? So we get to see the ritual activate yet again, and then the ritual is going to be able to summon this time from the hand by using from the deck, tributing from the deck, and then he's going to get all the effects of what he tributes. Yeah, so like hindsight, I still don't think we'd be in a good spot. I think, though, he was able to ritual summon from the graveyard. So again, like hindsight, knowing that ruling a little bit better and more thoroughly, you would definitely go after the big guy. Would probably put me in a way better spot than what I am. So he activates the ritual again to tribute out the tribute from deck, essentially, which is still kind of cool. To summon out the other Mitsurugi ritual, that allows you to reborn. Whenever I summon something, he reborns. And he sets, essentially, it looks like 1 card. I know, if I remember right, he searched the trap, if I remember. That was like his first ad, if I like remember this duel. Any crazy. So I'm just reading this card to make sure there's like no other secret effects on it. Yu-Gi-Oh players, we can read a card 4 or 5 times and still like not read the full card. So just looking through my graveyard again, that's the cool thing about Dragon Rulers is it seems like we're fighting on the back foot, no cards in hand, you know what I mean? Like we can't do anything. But we have my graveyard is loaded with dragon names to be able to essentially bring out level 7 bodies to go into like Chasma, to go into Big Eye, to go into other things, essentially to try and force things, which is kind of wild. I'm trying to see what he's thinking on doing here. I know he ends up doing something because he has to do something with Magnemite, or Magnemite comes back to me. So he goes ahead and links in Dynamundo. Pretty good Dynamundo. I do know that's the new Mitsurugi stuff. I think just locks them into reptile effects, not into reptiles, which is still pretty hurtful. But it's only for the turn. So in phase goes around, I get to search for Sulfenir, or not Sulfenir. Was that Sulfenir? I'm true. Yeah, I think that's Sulfenir. He goes draw phase, Dynamundo, and I just attempt to target and he goes ahead and uses the ritual. I attempt to target, target what he's targeting. He ends up using the trap to tribute a reptile and negate, which is pretty crazy, actually. But, yep, negates that, so the Monster Reborn comes out. So then the Monster Reborn, when I start summoning, he starts summoning. So I have a lot of names engraved, so like my idea was like, okay, so I got to put up enough names to where he puts out the big negator, the big guy that actually blows the board. I was like, I got to do something with that. So I banished 2 to go ahead and summon out Redox, and I go ahead and attempt to go effect of Tempest and effect of Tidal on the summon. Once per chain, he brings out the other ritual, the new one. I can't remember their name. They're all like, I'm very bad at remembering their names. I know exactly what they do, but I just don't remember. I can't remember their name. Mitsurugi. This one's the E-Tele by revealing in hand the once per duel one, and then the turtle one that special summons is pretty good. The one there in the center, once per chain, not once per turn. It's kind of insane, an insane card. And I attempt to use Spectral to summon out the Chasma here. He summons out the Regeki. Regeki sends out both these guys. But cool enough is that I knew I was doing something here, so I summon out the XYZ. When the XYZ is destroyed, I can special summon out from Banished or Graveyard. So here he's just filling up his board now, which is still kind of crazy. And then he can essentially fire off the negate effect of the big guy, which then I just have to discard a card, which is okay. I have to put up something pretty big because even like the line that I see that I'm trying to go for a disaster line here, because I'm like, that's really all. Like, I have to do something with a huge push, otherwise I don't think that I can put up enough bodies. We discard Nebulous to special summon out from Banish. And of course this happens, and he's able to special summon. Again, he summons out I think that one's Saji. Or maybe Saji's the other one that lets you search. I should have these things memorized, but... Oh, so we go into Eclipse effect to go ahead and shuffle back and summon. I think I shuffle back... Burner, okay. So I'm just going through, I gotta make sure I have all my names. So I shuffle back Burner, and I can make Chasma. And I think I go, this is where I go Chasma to detach, to go ahead and pop a card, because right here I have a disaster set up. So I just go Chasma to go and use the effect. I think I go to send Blaster to target start picking off the back rows, because Disaster will banish all the monsters from field or grave. So I attempt to target set card. I hit an Extravagance, which must have been a draw for turn or something else. Then, oh man, yeah. So now I'm just thinking, I was like, I think I have to this is where we go. We go disaster effect on summon. So like, if the set card is imperm, does this disaster just get cooked? But at this point I have to do it because he just has so many bodies that maybe like, I mean, arguably I could have gone battle phase first or clear bodies and then done this just to like ensure that the bodies are off the field. But all the rituals are huge, and then the ritual that summons from the deck at the far right near the graveyard, that one like boosts everything or lowers everything. So I end up attaching all the elements to it, and we just banish everything. Every monster gets banished that shares the same attributes of what's on there. So there's really, it's kind of weird that they like word cards like this, knowing that all the cards are going to be equipped right or be attached to it. But now I just have a 4,600 towers, and this is like, I'm just like, well, I just got to sit here and hope that he cannot out this towers, this monster, because hopefully the banish, I banished everything. I'm just like, please be enough. Hopefully I got rid of all the names and everything. I just hold the line. So we tend to go prayers, and he fires off prayers here, and he's like, I'm just really doing prayers to even see what I even have. Like, do I have anything left? And I was like, I really hope not, man. I hope that disaster was enough to go through. And let's see, he's just thinking while he searches. I forget what the set card is, but I think it's just another. I forget what it is actually. But he's able to search out the new guy, the new normal summon of the deck that adds any Mitsurugi monster, I believe. Still kind of wild. But this is still pretty cool here. We've pretty much ripped so many cards. We ripped like a third of his deck, if not half his deck, is now like banished, and we're just like hoping. And that's what I was telling him. I was really hoping to snipe an imperm. So you can see the normal summon here. He gets to add. I was like, man, I really hope you don't play two kaiju Mitsurugis, because that would like really suck right now. To be able to make my towers and like you just search the kaiju for it. So we activate the ritual here, I believe, to ritual from the deck. or excuse me, ritual from the hand by sending from the deck. So he rituals from there to go ahead and trigger the effect to add a, and since the card was tributed, he can add another Mitsurugi, which is going to add the pop card, which is still pretty crazy. I think it's actually a pop and a ritual. I think. Don't quote me on it. I should get better at remembering these cards, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Having learned my own cards, I think I should be allowed to forget the names of these cards, especially for a deck that I do not play myself. What's the... I know he's thinking here. So currently as it stands, I'm sitting pretty good. So he attempt to ritual from the graveyard. He summons out the one that he sent with the trap, and then, so like then... Yeah, so, except for I don't think he should get a search for rares here, actually. I don't think it matters, but I don't think he should get the search for it because he already used the effect to search. And so he tributes the one on field to summon back, and then since it gets tributed, it can special summon itself. So he sets one, and I think I'm like, oh, dude, this is looking pretty good. I'm like, thank goodness, please. Please just be trying to build a wall or something like that. Just be enough. But we're going to see a Link 2 into SP. And then I think we see a set. But so he just has to... I know what he's trying to do. And we see prayers activate to reborn. Looking back at it, I actually don't think he could do that. I think he already prayers. So I think this is like not... This ain't right. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he started his turn with prayers to search out the level 4. Unless you can only use, unless you can use both effective prayers, right? That could be it. Let me check prayers real quick, because that's pretty important here. Let's see here. When you activate this card, you can also tribute one rest and apply one of these effects, or tribute it on activation. You can apply both of these. You can activate one. Yeah. So if I'm correct, he started his turn with prayers and to search out the level 4 one. So technically, we shouldn't be able to get the extra body out here, if I'm correct. We'll have to double back and check after the voiceover here, the talking and double check. But it is what it is. It's Yu-Gi-Oh, man. It's locals. Misplays happen. Like, this is game, I think, 1, right? Game 1's been going on this long. So it's just, yeah, we're getting into the nit and gritty, right? So misplays are bound to happen. Like I said, I don't even know if it's a misplay yet. But if it is, I will do the power of editing and go back and like put it there so like everyone knows. So we're trying to redox here. He just has the big scary white lady is what we call her locals. Summon out redox. Overlay here. It's like, well, so I got to figure out a way to out white lady. Conveniently, Big Eye is one of the only ways to out white lady. But he's able to banish the trap here to special summon out this guy. And then he's able to use the effect to pop here, which is still... Because he searched out that, the trap last turn, not the trap, the quick play spell. I remember even saying that's a quick play spell. And then he's able to add back stuff. And I'm like, oh, yep, Big Guy was probably my big push, I think. Because at any moment, he has the ability to negate one effect in the graveyard that special summons. So I attempt to just fire off the dragon. It's kind of crazy, like the dragon rulers can banish their own attribute or any dragons in the graveyard. Like, that's kind of wild when you think about it. Like, I just was able to banish Jewess Worm and Heretic Seal to summon out Tidal, which you would think that you would need Tidal. But it's just, these cards are actually really insane when you really read them for them to come out in like 2012, 2013. It's just kind of wild, in my opinion. Like, I'm just trying to look through my Ravage Extra deck. I was like, wow. I mean, I think maybe I can go into Typhon, and then there's like, I only made SP, and I was like, yeah, dude, you only made IP, that was it. And I was like, yeah. I was like, that was kind of my only out, kind of to the big scary white lady. But even then, I don't even think it was an out, man. I think in the current game state, it was literally bounce back white lady, but then that other Mitsurugi out there reduces everything by 800 or gives everything 800 attack or something like that, so I couldn't even battle over it. But we get to try and go first, and he drops a Molchummy, and I'm like, dang, the Perilia again. I think this hand is, again, another hand that's, no little babies or anything, so I have to special from the hand a lot. So I throw Ash, and I'm just trying to think here. Time is, again, getting close on the clock here, so I'm going to try my best to work through, try to do something competent here. I think I'm sitting here, I throw Burner down, and in my mind, I was like, oh, shoot, I think I'm normal summoning the Burners. That's the plan, to special summon Chungus, yeah. To go ahead and make the Bident. and then effect of Bite It to go ahead and summon out the Chungus. And I think we activate Redox, banishing the Nebulous and the Burner from Grave to summon out Redox. And I think we just overlay for Chasma. Chasma send... Yeah, Chasma would send here. What's actually kind of cool is if you play Droll and Ash, that you can essentially use them also in your graveyard, because the Blaster and Tempest require you to banish dragons and/or monsters of like the fire or wind attribute. So like you can potentially use those as banishing when you're summoning those said dragon rulers. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out. I'm like, okay, so there's definitely the lines. I got to see the lines. This is like not being able to test properly. So I end up grabbing out, sending Tempest to search a dragon. I search Genroku. Genroku summon itself. I go ahead and grab Kaiman, or excuse me, to summon out Pedro. Pedro to get Kaiman. I activate Kaiman, or I think Kaiman's in here to summon out the, okay. Just slowly, everything's going so fast here. Summon out the Odd Eyes, and I'm able to summon back the Tempest and everything. Okay, we're okay. We're okay now. So essentially, with time getting close, I stand with Chasma plus Tempest. He goes Gordian Slicer. And I'm like, wow, this card... And I misread this card too. I thought you couldn't respond to this card's activation, but you just cannot be negated. So hindsight, knowing that we're getting close in the time, again, I should have probably chained Chasma, sending Redox, and then Redox to reborn Genroku, and then use Genroku to summon out the Fadra, and then Fadra to reborn out Chungus. And then, yeah, should have done that. And then maybe, arguably, man, maybe Black Rose should be in my extra deck. So then, but I mean, this is like a one case scenario, right? So maybe I should have gone maybe Black Rose shouldn't be in there. But you could potentially put it in there, and in that weird scenario, in that, like, when you're back against the wall, you could, Black Rose. But he puts enough to go battle phase and damage, and then it's just kind of brutal here. And I was like, dang, yeah, I can't believe I didn't read. I read frickin' Gordion Slicer wrong. So we go into match number 3, game 1 versus Mathmech. I am conveniently lose the dice roll. I've won them all night, and then here I lose the dice roll against Mathmech. So conveniently, not even conveniently, this is kind of terrible. The glare is bad where I'm sitting, and I don't catch it till halfway through. I kind of keep looking over, but I'm not looking at the recording, so I end up catching it. But we see a Almirage. We end up seeing a Splash Made effect. I have a Droll in hand, and I'm like, dang. He ends up making Heat Soul effect to draw, and I just throw Droll here because I'm like, well, I don't know if you're going to do any more searching. This is like, I should have kept Droll, thinking about it, because this is such a weak line. He already got his 2 draws, so like maybe it was the right thing. But normal summon Doradora, this little faithful dragon, man. He's going to Imperm Doradora, and I'm like, darn, okay. Well, let's go ahead and fire off Kaiman. Kaiman being one of the mini stacking one-ofs, you're right? So like this card is pretty horrible. It feels horrible. It's a good card. It's horrible to be get sacked by, okay, so Doradora didn't matter, or the Imperm here didn't matter. I make Sleepy Joe Bident should bring back out, attempt to target I have to target the Chungus. It has to target the Tempai. The cool thing here is I could potentially go battle phase, right, and attack for a lot of damage. But I attempt to go stream here, pitching another Doradora from my hand to summon out the title. And again, I overlay for Chasma. Right here, I'm just trying to, I think, force through a Nib. And I think this is what I do. Yeah. So I attempt to go battle phase right here, because I want to be able to go battle phase. I can chain the Chasma and then play through the Nibiru. That's going to come down. So I attempt to go battle phase. He says in the main phase, he smokes me here with the Nib. But I chain Nib, sending title, or detaching to send title. Or detaching title, right? Detach title, send the Tempest to add Spectral. Oh yeah, and I can Spectral now. Spectral here, sending the Druid Swarm, which sucks to have to use, but Druid Swarm was sent in my hand. He had no lights, which normally Mathmech do have lights, Sigma, Circular, Diameter, but he just opened kind of poorly. So this dragon was just in my hand. So I ended up going Spectral, pitching the Dueling Worm to go ahead and search Burner and Redox. And we're just going to try and play through Nibiru here. We got one more set here, which I'm not too familiar. I can't remember what it is at the top of my moment. But I've used... this is trying to remember names, so I banished 2 to summon out title because I detached title. And I must not have... yeah, I used stream to summon title. So title had not used his summon effect yet. Banished the Tempest. Tempest had not used its summon effect yet. So I used Burner, detaching, or discarding Redox to summon out the Blaster. And I think right here I catch it. No, I move it. Oh, I think I made the glare worse. Don't worry, I do catch it. I do understand this, but we're locked in the moment here. All my games had gone to time, so I was really trying not to focus on the I was like, as long as we're able to get the match, I'm okay, but I'm tired of my games going to time. Probably should have like learned this deck a little bit better, but normal summon Eclipses over there in the far corner, Eclipse effect, shuffle back Stream to go and summon back out a title from the deck. And I just got to establish one more level 7, which of course, oh, here, there we go. We catch it here. Good deal. Do it old loop-de-loop. So I send Redox. Redox is the last name I've not used. So I go ahead and banish 2 to summon out Redox. Again, it's just kind of cool that it just be dragon names here. Redox. So now I can establish, I was like, okay, so he's paid 1,000 with Heat Soul. He paid 2,000 with Heat Souls right now. So I was like, I can potentially push for game here, I think. I'm reading the Doom Dragon Rider. That card's actually, this card's insane. Is a quick effect if you have a dragon attached to it, but it lets you destroy a monster on field and then give attack of the attack to a monster 300 times its level, and Nib's a level 11. So I'm like, oh man, I was like, is this really it? Like, could I do this? Like, if he's holding Effect Veiler or something like that, like it's kind of brutal. Like this Nib might go far, just because like my board will do nothing. So I decided to overlay here for the Doom Dragon Rider, detach 2, target the Nib to destroy it, and then I have the ability to give my Eclipse 3,300, making him 6,000 exactly. And since he stopped me in the main phase, I attempt to go battle phase with Eclipse to be able to attack for exactly 6k. And then he's going to flip over Cyber Factorial, but conveniently, Eclipse is a spell and trap negate, so we're just able to punch right for lethal. He's there doing math, and he's like, yep, that's enough. And then, like, in this scenario, if it happened to not be enough, I could, like, make spears there, which would be kind of cool. Go into this all-important game number 2 scenario here. This, pretty good to have a match go by, pretty clean. It just kind of sucks the Mathmech players seem to, like, not draw so spectacular, but I see him going Signet Mining, pitching the Super Factorial to add Circular. This banned card now released. It's just kind of crazy this deck Circular does so much for the deck. In fact, Mathmech was unplayable prior. So Circular coming back and makes pure Mathmech a viable option. We see him summon Circular, use Sigma to summon, and Circular will search him a spell or trap. He already exhausted, he already opened Super Factorial, so I'm not scared of that. That's like an inboard piece. I'm really surprised he actually pitched that because, like I said, that's part of the inboard. Surely there was a better option to pitch, right? But he searches the Fraction, I believe, the Monster Reborn Mathmech Fraction. I think that's what it is. I hate math, man. But he goes at Alimbertion. I throw Imperm. He normally summons Diameter effect to bring back. I'm like, okay. Yeah, so he's doing Cyverse things, which is still kind of crazy. Equation, that's what it is, not Fraction. He goes ahead and goes into a Link 2, goes into the Splash Mage, and then I think here I optioned a Nib. And the reason I optioned a Nib here is because I think he can climb into Heat Soul. So then if he makes Heat Soul, I go Nib, he chains the draw, and he could draw into an Extender, more non-engine. So I figure like here to keep him off the draw is probably the best spot. Now, if he plays Link Spider and then Paralytic Seed, he just goes, it is what it is. There's not any more I can do. Imperm Nib is a crazy combination, and if your deck can beat it, your deck can beat it. You're pretty good at that, if that's what you can do. But conveniently for me, in my favor, he actually does not have Link Spider, so he passes. And this is a great feeling because, I was like, okay, 3 cards in hand, Nibiru's out. There's like little to no defense on this token, so worst case scenario, Nib can just whack over the token. So we attempt to go Spectral, pitching Blaster, and I was like, that's me. He throws Ash at it, which normally sucks, but we end up banishing the 2 for title, which then allows me to go and grab a Fire Dragon because Blaster was banished. And I'm like, thinking of what I can grab Burner. But see, this is the crazy thing is I can grab Dora, I can grab Genroku, I can grab Pedro, I can grab literally any of the Tenpai stuff, and we can go into battle phase. And the battle phase would be if I can, and I'm trying to do this under 5 summons. So titles, summon number 1, Goku's summon number 2, Pedro summon number 3, searching Kaiman. And I think we go ahead and activate Kaiman, search out, hard open Chandra. So then we attempt to go battle phase. I swing with Pedro over the token because the token I think is 1,500. And then he throws out Molchummy here in the battle phase, and I was like, oh wow, there's not really much I can do here. Kind of crazy that he had Molchummy and he chose to, okay, it's all right because we just got to do damage. So I swing with everything, I believe, and I think that so I mess up here. I forget to use Chandra's effect to summon. So I go Sleepy Joe to Reborn out, Pedro, and this is enough for game. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. Charles signing out.